so yesterday, just you were really pumped up because you thought they were making some progress. What happened late yesterday that just derailed everything?
Pretty much in my mind, Gary Bettman showed up, and everything just went down the tubes, for lack of a better word.
Now, so it's all Bettman?
They were talking for 3 days. They were talking for 11 hours a day, 8 hours a day, only taking 2-hour breaks to go get something to eat, coming back, talking. They had a lot of issues taken care of. There was a couple open issues, and then this guy walks in. I mean, he's failed. He's done. They got to get rid of him. It's over for him.
But how did they get...
Two long lockouts in the last less than 10 years. It's over for him.
2 long lockouts in, 5 years, actually, right? Or 6 years?
6 or 7. Who knows? 2004 to now, 8 years, whatever.
Why it would... I mean, I don't know any of the details. I just kind of glanced over the article. I mean, what is it that they just flat out rejected and threw out the door? Because, I mean, like you said...
They're not even really talking about that. You know, what they're saying is just that all they talk about, they're keeping it very inside right now, from what I've seen at least. All they're really saying is, they're talking about issues, and then they got some issues worked out. And then yesterday, it was 1 hour meeting after all those meetings. They bring in the head of the NHLPA, they bring in Gary Bettman. It takes 1 hour for them to turn everything down.
That's just
depressing. My guess is that the owners don't want to pay the players what they want to make. Possibly, these guys who just signed contracts, they want their contracts to be honored, and that might be holding some things up because of the new CBA. Some contracts might have to be restructured.
I think that's a concession the owners have to make, though. If you've signed a contract already, that contract should be grandfathered into the new CBA. Now, all new contracts after the CBA is signed, that's a different story. But, I mean, they still have to honor the contracts that were signed during the old CBA, I would think, and just grandfather those in.
These guys are making money. That the top guys, the guys who really matter, are making money anyway.
Well, yeah, they went over to the KHL, right? Or for most of them, anyway?
Most of them. Some guys are playing in the AHL. Things that kill me about the lockout is you got a guy like Erich just got hurt in the AHL. So now if they do start up within the next month, when's he going to be back? And that's a big part of, the Devils, and I'm a Devils fan. So
where's Ovechkin playing? Where's Ovechkin's in the KHL, right now?
I believe so. Kovalchuk's over in the KHL. I can't watch that.
No, but and plus, like you said, all those guys are making their money somewhere else. Somebody else will pay them to play hockey.
Oh yeah,
and
or they can go teach it somewhere.
Let's also
keep
in mind
money teaching it too, especially with a name like guys who've won Stanley Cups before, maybe at the end of their career, guys who've put in 15 years in the NHL. They're going to make plenty of money. All they got to do is put their name on a camp and show up for a couple hours a day.
Yeah.
Right. They have no reason to go back and play for less than what they think they should play for and put their bodies through all that work.
So, one of the things I think that the NHL is not realizing is that hockey's actually bigger in other countries than it is here. And I think they're not catching on the fact that these players can make a living without the NHL.
It's not like the NFL.
No,
or even baseball.
Yeah, the NFL, you're stuck. You're not going over to Europe and playing NFL football. You're not going to go make $10 million a year playing football in Europe.
You could make a couple thousand playing in the CFL if you wanted.
Yeah, enough to maybe minimum wage type of thing. But, and I think do you think that's a reason why the NHL players aren't willing to budge is because they know that they have another option in different countries to go make a living playing hockey?
Yeah, why not? The KHL is throwing money out like it's nothing. They're just tossing it around because people over in Russia love hockey, love it, and they will pay anything to go see guys like Ovechkin and Kovalchuk play. Whereas here, look at the Devils. You got a guy like Kovalchuk in Russia. He's going to fill the seats. Here, you get half an arena.
Yeah.
Here, market means everything.
And that's the one thing I think that the NHL is being sort of stubborn on is like, look, these players are going to play. They don't need the NHL to do it. And, I mean, think about it. Some of these guys that don't want to leave the States realize the fact you can go right up to Canada and play up there. You don't have to go that far from home to be able to play. And I think that's the part that the NHL's got to realize, like, look, you guys got to be willing to budge a little bit because, to be honest with you, you're the ones that are probably going to be hurt the most with this lockout, all in all. And
you know, I thought, I'm just saying, you know, you think Christmas is coming on the 26th. You think they're going to kick off games. You got the Devils, it looks like, starting the season with, like, Pittsburgh, Philly, you know, really good games. And then it's just not going to happen because you got two guys at the head of the helm on each side that just aren't going to, it's just, they're never going to agree.
It's a sad, sad story. Now, do you believe that the owners get hurt more by the lockout?
I think so because they got, well, a lot of these guys, they got money. You know, they got money elsewhere. They're making money elsewhere. It's not just these teams that they make money off of.
No,
a lot of these guys are, you know, they make money in other places. So
I think eventually the owners are going to have to concede.
The owners hurt more.
Yeah, I think eventually the owners are going to have to concede on this one, only because if the players are still playing anyway elsewhere, and the owners have these stadiums and these arenas aren't being used. They're not. I mean, it's kind of a waste of money for some of these arenas, like the Predators Arena down in Nashville. They don't have anybody else playing in that building. They don't have anything else going on there.
Maybe
so they got the Predators.
Maybe a concert every now and then or something like that. But
not enough to keep the revenue flowing through those buildings. And I mean, I think it's going to come down to where the owners are going to have to say, listen, if we're going to have to make some concessions here, take a little bit less of the pie, and make it work.
Oh yeah, and you know, look at it like this too. There's a lot of good players over, you know, in Europe who don't come here. They stay there anyway, and they're good players, but they stay there and play. You know, a lot of the guys who do come here, like the Ovechkins, they come here because it's top flight. It's #1 hockey league in the world. It's the NHL. But, you know, without that, think about it. Like when I went around and I played hockey, I would have much rather would have loved to play at the level I played at here in New Jersey than out where I went to. So now you got guys like Kovalchuk, and they're going home, and they're making money, and they're getting watched, and people love them.
I can't believe this is. I can't believe they're still locked out. That's really where I'm at. Like just as a fan, not somebody to sit here and judge it, not somebody to sit, and be the sports talk guy. Just as a fan,
in the last 12 hours, though, it has been a big turnaround from where me and Fife were talking yesterday about where we thought the NHL was going to go, and now it's
not.
It's done a 180
not even
since
in the ballpark.
No. So
I had a good idea. As soon as the Winter Classic brings in like $200 million or something like that. I mean, it's a massive amount of money. I had a good idea that once that was cut out, that the season was gone. You know.
Well, that is arguably their biggest thing. Yeah, that is arguably their biggest thing until the playoffs.
They were going to play in Michigan Stadium this year, and you could put 100,000 people in that stadium.
Yeah, and they usually fill the stadiums they play in. I mean, when they played up at Fenway, they sold out Fenway. I mean, that's
especially right around the corner from Hockey Town.
Yeah, I mean that's stuff, and that's the thing. And the NHL, dude, we've mentioned this numerous times when we talk about this. They bombed. They had a great opportunity to capitalize on the playoffs that they gave people last year. They had a great opportunity. Those playoffs last year were amazing from the first round on. What the Los Angeles Kings were able to do, you were able to get you were able to get the Devils playing, the Rangers were playing, all the big market teams were out there playing and doing well.
Kings got their first Stanley Cup, right?
Yeah, and it's just the NHL has really bombed on this one.
Yeah, they're going to have to go back to where they were in 2005 and hope that in 6 years they can build up. But, again, you keep building up every 6 years, and then you argue over money. Then you build up, then you argue over money. When's it going to end? It's either going to end for good, or they're going to get smart about it and start doing it right. And they need a commissioner who can take over and get stuff done instead of just sit on his hands and watch everybody else not get stuff done.
So you really place the blame on Bettman then?
I mean, who else? You got the guy who's running the show for the last however long, and he's had all these fun. I mean, that's eventually you just got to look at it and say something's got to change. So why not cut off the head and start from the top?
Well, I mean, I believe any sports situation is like big business. Whatever happens at the top trickles down to the bottom. I do believe in that.